It's recording. No pressure. All right, we're here. I'm here with Scott, and Scott's going to ask me questions. I've got them all written down, but we're going to ask questions about, like, frequently asked questions, and there's a fly, so if I start doing crazy stuff, anyway. So, anyway, yes, sir?
All right, first question. What do I do if I have a billing question?
Well, it's pretty simple. So we have our email address at our location, which is the info@turlock.fit-body-bootcamp. And if you go into our group that's just for the 6-week challenge right here, our pinned post has all of that details, all those details in there. So it has our phone number, text message, cell phone number basically, and then also our email. So you can get all those questions. Oh, my fly's going to kill me. But anyway, I'm just going to, anyway, all right. Did that answer that? Cool.
Next question. What if I go out of town, and what if I eat at a restaurant?
All right, so first, in that same group at the pinned post, we have Fit Body at Home, and those are a series of workouts. You can do that in a hotel room. You can do it at home. There's literally videos with the exact move and the instruction and everything. If you're doing those, you're going to be just fine, okay? That also holds true. Let's say you just like, man, I feel super good right now. I feel like I need to do an extra workout. Jump into it. Do it at home. You're good to go. All right? Then the second one is, what if I need to eat at a restaurant? In the group, I've posted in the files in this group is basically a restaurant eating system. So the real key to making sure that you don't get crazy at a restaurant is to have some sort of a plan, and this restaurant eating system will help you do that. Okay? So it's in the files in this group.
All right. I'm feeling stuffed. Is that normal?
Actually, it is. Oddly enough, you would think, oh man, I'm going to be doing this quote-unquote diet. I'm not going to be able to eat any calories and all that stuff. Well, what's crazy about this is if you look at the meal plan that we provided you, it's all real food. So what happens with real food is, one, it is more voluminous as compared to the caloric value. So when you eat a processed food like a Twinkie, it is small but really calorie packed. So you don't get as full when you eat that and you consume mass amounts of calories. But if you eat, let's say, 6 egg whites, which is 125 calories, that is a full plate of eggs, but it's only 125 calories. And so you end up eating a lot more food, so you feel full, but don't conflate feeling full to gaining weight. You're really just giving your body the nutrients that it deserves.
All right. Best question here. I can't poop. What should I do?
Well, that's normal, okay? So most of us don't eat enough protein all the time. And when we don't eat enough protein and we boost our protein up, we get a little backed up, all right? And so pooping is good, and that's why if you look at everybody's meal plans, there's vegetables on there. Vegetables are very high in fiber, and want to make sure that you get at least a pound of vegetables a day and making sure you're getting your, over the course of the day, getting enough fiber in your diet. If you need to, don't be afraid of doing some sort of a Metamucil or something like that, or a psyllium husk. That's basically what Metamucil is. And you can put that in your shake or just drink it separately if you feel like you need to do that. And secondly, drink water. You want to make sure that you're drinking enough water over the course of the day. And that is basically about a half an ounce per pound of body fat, or your body weight divided in half times the number of ounces that you're going to drink. I know that's super complicated math, but you got it. All right?
All right. I'm having trouble eating all the food. What should I do?
Work your way toward it. Don't be afraid to eat all that food. You're going to lose the weight. That's why we have the science behind getting all those meal plans together. And make yourself eat it. A lot of us, especially in the morning, are very used to not eating for 4 or 5 hours. And so we've trained our bodies to not have food. So when we do, all of a sudden our bodies is like, whoa, we feel like super bloated and everything. But try to eat food. Now, if you're coming into the 9 a.m. session, don't like pack it out right before you come to the 9 a.m. session. We don't want to have any kind of reversal during the workouts. But just as a general rule, if you're not doing it the very first day, over the course of that first week, I want you to work up to making sure you're eating the entirety of the meal plan.
All right. Can I have blank even though it isn't on the plan?
And no. So the simple answer is no. And the reason why is because, one, we want you're going to hold us accountable just like we're going to hold you accountable. And we've worked this whole plan out to make sure that all these foods work together. So one of the things that we don't really think about is when we eat let's say peanut butter, you actually will talk to people and be like, oh, peanut butter, and it's on our list, but peanut butter is on our list as a fat. But a lot of people think, oh, peanut butter, there's protein in there. Well, there is, but peanut butter is 70% fat. So it has residual protein as basically a ride-along macronutrient. But most of the foods on here have accounted for that. So if you eat something off the list, you might be adding more carbohydrates than you should be, or more protein or more fat than you should be. Does that make sense? All right, perfect. Yeah.
Cool. All right. During the workouts, I'm getting tired. What can I take for energy?
Right. So my go-to pre-workout, super simple, cup of coffee. You're going to get basically about 100 milligrams of the caffeine, and that's going to help push you through. Or you could do just some pre-workout. And so you can knock that out as well. And we have that available. Pre-workout, basically about the same amount of calories. And sometimes you're not going to feel like you want to work out super awesome. You just have to make it happen. Sometimes if you only worked out when you felt perfect, we would all be super out of shape.
Right. Okay. Next one. My weight loss is slowing down. Should I just cut the protein?
No. There's no place to park. Anyway, so, yeah, fly. It's killing me. What was your question again? I'm totally not paying attention to you.
It's okay. My weight loss is slowing down. Should I just cut the protein?
No. And basically never cut the protein. The most important part is of any essential macronutrient, because it helps rebuild muscle, keep you from being sore, all those different things, is your protein. So if you're having that issue and we're concerned about it, if you're not on that pace to get to that 25 pounds, come speak with me. We will make adjustments. We'll probably make adjustments in your fat and your carbohydrates, or maybe even upping your vegetables. The other thing you want to do too is make sure that if that starts to happen, start logging your food. Obviously, we're trusting that you are following the meal plan as it's given to you, but sometimes as the weeks go by, we get a little lax. We tend to cut back on the protein naturally just by we don't give ourselves as much, and we tend to up the fats and carbohydrates without really paying attention, So if we need to, get back to measuring, get back to actually writing down what you're eating.
Okay. Why is there very little fruit on this meal plan?
Basically, because there is a lot of sugar in fruit. And so we have, if you look at it in the carbs, there is like berries on there, but it is not a situation where we want you to overeat your fruit, because there is lots of carbohydrates. And also want to make sure if you're eating those berries, I typically like to see people eat those before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If you eat them in the evening, that's perfectly fine, but we just want to make sure that you're burning off all those residual carbohydrates before you go to bed.
Okay. I'm getting so tired of eating chicken at every meal.
Right.
Can I at least mix and match?
Absolutely, and that's why I have this entire list of all the different things that you can eat as proteins, right? So you can eat any of these at any time as long as they add up to the specific portion size that you're supposed to have on your plate. So if you decided to not eat chicken, but you were going to have 3 ounces of turkey and 3 ounces of whitefish to add up to a specific meal size, then that's what you can do. You can split all these things up in any portion you want, as long as it adds up to the portion size that's on your plate. Another thing too, don't be afraid of those spices. Dry spices especially, perfect add-on. You can make chicken taste like a lot of different things by the end of the day.
Right. My work schedule, or my schedule in general, forces me to eat dinner closer to bedtime. Isn't eating before bed bad for you?
It's not, actually. In fact, I always recommend that everybody who starts to feel hungry as they're going to bed, eat something. And the biggest reason is because when we are sleeping is when our body rebuilds muscle the most. And so if we give it the tools, meaning like the amino acids and the proteins and all those things to help your muscles rebuild, we are going to build muscle faster, basically burning more calories. So don't be afraid of eating, especially if you're hungry.
Okay. As you can tell, I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, you look vegetarian.
Are beans and quinoa good enough?
They're not. Okay, we spoke earlier about the about kind of the residual like macronutrients. If you notice, we have beans and legumes on our list. They actually fall into the carbohydrates category because even though they have about 20% protein, they still are 80% carbohydrates. And so it's really hard to be a vegetarian and get enough protein in your diet. If you need to, my suggestion is to get a protein shake that is either rice or hemp or something like that where it's plant-based to make up that difference and really concentrate on making sure you're getting enough protein in your diet every single day. If you're doing the vegetarian route, it's on you to make sure that you're getting enough protein in your diet. And, you know, it's one of the burdens of being a vegetarian. Got to make sure you keep that muscle strength.
All right. Can I use a shake instead of a normal protein for a meal?
If on an occasional basis, sure. But if it's happening every single night, you really need to make sure make sure that you're eating your regular food because when we eat real food, we are getting all the other micronutrients that we're supposed to be in our diets. And if we're only having that shake, we're not getting enough real food in our diet. That's one of the reasons I see a lot of times where people tend to back up as well, is because they're getting the protein, they're not getting those vegetables. So my advice is whenever humanly possible, make sure you're eating real food. And I know I have shakes on here twice a day, but shakes are not quote unquote real food. That's processed food. It's just a way for me to get enough protein in your diets over the course of the challenge.
Okay. And how exactly do the shakes work?
It's just simple. It's real simple. It's just a scoop. I don't want you to put a whole bunch of other extra things in there. I do. Once we get down the road, you can obviously add in and make some variety. For the challenge, it's water and a scoop of protein. Super simple, super basic, just really concentrating on that protein only.
All right. I can't do dairy. Can I still have the shakes?
You can. Now it says whey on here because that's really a great protein for rebuilding muscle and everything, but if you need to, you can always go get a plant-based shake and make that happen. There's plenty of options out there, and if you're stuck on something, just let me know.
I'm leaving for 4 days in the middle of the challenge. What should I do?
One, print out the restaurant eating system. Make sure that you use that in your entire trip. Two, make sure that you log into the FitBody at-home workouts and get at least 1 or 2 workouts where you're gone. And don't be afraid to plan. Look at those menus ahead of time. Like, let's say you know that you're going to go to a restaurant, make a plan. You know you're going to go to a banquet, make a plan. If you at least plan ahead, you might not follow that plan exactly, but you're going to do a much better job of staying on a plan if you have one. If you don't have one, you're probably not going to follow it.
My schedule changed and I won't be able to make it to my normal class time. Can I come in to another time?
Absolutely. So that's totally fine.
Thank you.
He was super worried.
Yeah.
Anyway, the real key is we want to make sure that you're getting into our sessions 3 times a week. Please let us know because we don't want you showing up and there being 75 people at the session if it starts to get really full. But for now, want to make sure to just mention it to us. I'm sure it's going to be okay. Come in, get your workout on.
All right. I haven't really been losing weight. Should I just cut out all my carbs?
No. Let us know. We need to make those adjustments, and we can. One, you want to make sure that you are keeping track of exactly what you're eating if you're not losing weight, because we were, in the beginning, if you start to lose weight, you're fine. If we start to run into problems, what we really need is information to be able to diagnose exactly what the problem is. Cutting carbs out completely, not necessarily the right thing to do, especially when you're working out on a regular basis. We don't want to make you hangry. We don't want you freaking out because those carbohydrates go directly to willpower and getting things done on a regular basis. So don't cut them out completely. Come talk to us.
All right. Can I have any other vegetables than what's on the list?
You can. Specifically, the ones that we don't want you to eat are the peas, carrots, corn, squash, eggplant, pumpkin, and beets. What do those all have in common? They are very high in carbohydrates. If you have something else that's not on the list that's lower in carbohydrates, that's completely fine. it basically, though, I want you to try to stick to leafy green vegetables. That's the best thing to do.
All right. Should I eat only organic food?
For the challenge, it's not really necessary. There's been several studies, and organic foods in the short run don't show any significant difference on weight loss. Like when you start eating, let's say you ate nothing but organic vegetables, there's not really any difference in the short run. There's also studies that there's different arguments made on if it's healthy in the long run over the course of years and years and years, pesticides and all that stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, don't worry about it. It gets expensive. If you want to go full organic, do it. More power to you. If you don't worry about it.
Should I cut out all of my salt?
No, I would just basically keep your salt right where it's at. Salt in and of itself is not bad for you. In fact, when you hear the word electrolytes, that's basically salt. And so I would just keep your salt intake right at the same level. Once we get to the end, let's say you just want to make sure that you get to that 25-pound mark, come talk to me. We can make some adjustments on salt intake and all that stuff to help drop off a couple of those little pounds just to make sure that you got that 25-pound mark done.
Cool. And how much water should I be drinking?
Yeah, I talked about this real briefly earlier. Basically, it's a half an ounce of water for every pound that you weigh, or whatever you weigh, cut in half times 1 ounce of water. I know this is complicated math, but that's really what the goal is. And if you work it all out, it really usually works out to somewhere pretty close to a gallon of water today.
All right, so say in my first week I lost 8 pounds. Is that a bad thing?
It's not. Obviously it happens more often than you might think because in general our bodies do not want to be in an overweight state. So once they actually have that opportunity where they're eating some real food, they're getting some workouts, you are going to lose weight really fast. It'll level out, but it might level out in 3 weeks. You might have like 2 or 3 weeks where you just are losing a whole bunch. But it's not bad as long as you're eating the food and drinking the water and working out.
All right. Oh, this is a good one. Are there any cheat days or cheat meals?
No. There's no cheat days, no cheat meals, and there is some science behind doing cheat meals, but we really want to stay aggressive with this. What I found is, and it's a personal experience too, is when I do a cheat meal, all of a sudden that turns into a cheat day, and then it's cheat weekend, and then all of a sudden all those gains that I had from the 5 days prior turn into 0 gains by Monday because I got all cheaty all weekend. So I really want to help you not run into those obstacles. So it's the same with a lot of the foods that are not on the list because a lot of those foods that we could eat but tend to be things that we will overindulge in So anyway, I digress.
And then, can I juice?
You can juice. However, my personal advice on that is not to. You can juice as long as you are juicing to the same portion size that you're supposed to be doing on your meal. The one thing that you're going to run into if you're juicing, basically what juice does is it pulls out all the fiber and everything out of all the fruit and vegetables that you're eating. And the fiber is very important, right? We talked about that earlier. And so if you juice, you're going to do 2 things. One, you might start consuming way too much sugar. And then 2, you're not going to get enough fiber. So my advice for the 6 weeks, don't do it. Can you? Yes, you just gotta kind of make sure that you have a plan while you do it.
All right, last one. Say I want to tone my triceps, like the back of my arms here.
Right.
Should I do extra push-ups that I read in Men's Health magazine, or a friend told me to do more push-ups?
Right. Basically what it comes down to is there's really no such thing as spot reductions. It makes for good news articles in magazines because people are always like, oh, I just want to crush my abs, whatever, do all that stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, you are going to lose fat where you gained it. You're going to lose fat last where you gained it first. And so we're just going to have to burn all of that off. So if you notice, we do our workouts. They are typically almost every day we do kind of a full body workout. We do emphasize different parts of our body over the course of the week. But the real key to making sure that you're melting fat and toning muscle as fast as humanly possible is to just do full body workouts all the time. Does that make sense? Perfect. I appreciate your agreement.
That helps.
All right. If there's other questions, obviously post them right in here in the group, and I will catch you guys later. Thanks.